rates, Neil?
Well, existing home sales are surging here, there, everywhere. What do you make of that? Well, we may stink, they stink more. That's been kind of the argument here. What do we do now in this real estate environment? Let's get real estate expert Dani Babb. She's also the author of The Accidental Landlord. And the argument is with this existing home sales surge is that obviously it was a lot of depressed, foreclosed properties, but they were still up. What do you make of that?
I don't care what they are. We need to get 11.5 months of inventory back to 5.5 or 6 months.
That's the average, right? 5.5?
5.5 to 6 months in a decent market. We need to get whatever.
By the way, how much of that inventory is like foreclosed, pathetic stuff?
About 2.5 months.
Really?
Yeah. So we have about another 3 months worth of inventory. That's resale homes that are just sitting there stagnant on the market.
What is selling?
What is selling is condos and homes that are priced around $280,000. That's because that's what the person with the median income in the nation can afford. Also, areas that have maintained their strength, Texas, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, those states are doing still very well.
So the hot markets in the Northeast, or what were hot in Florida, Silicon Valley, out in West, still not so hot.
Silicon Valley, actually, there are areas that are doing quite well. There's an area called Pacific Heights that's doing that's just like Beverly Hills in California. It's doing very well, maintaining its value, even increasing 4 to 10% year over year.
Is there any poor person in Beverly Hills?
I'm not sure, but I'll have to get back to you on
check.
that.
We had Liz Clayman go back there, and she was talking about her rough childhood with, like, you know, five homes. Is it your sense now that no matter what these guys do, no matter what the government does, if the stock market keeps tumbling, the confidence level keeps tumbling, it's not going to change, right?
Yeah, and there's actually several components to this. First of all, right now, lenders are requiring, they moved originally during, before the credit boom, right, in the early 2000s, we needed about 6 months reserve to buy a home. So you needed about 6 months payment in the bank. Then, during the boom period, that went to 1 to 2 month reserves. Some cases considered.
What do you mean reserve? In other words, to put the down payment, or to just have so that you can afford the place?
Yeah, after your down payment, you still needed that much money in the bank just to show that you were liquid. That dropped substantially during the real estate boom. Now what's happened is...
When I got my house, it was like 4 hours worth. I got in.
Yeah.
No?
Oh, well, no, and mine's been 6 to 12 months. But
really?
Yeah, but what's happened, the pendulum has swung so far the other direction that now I'm doing a refinance myself. They want 12 months reserves, plus they want me to pay the 10% declining market value that the bank anticipates in the next couple of years. Plus we have appraisers in the tanks for the bank, which is a big problem.
It used to be the other way around. You know, they used to be inflating it. Now they're deflating it.
They're deflating it. Yeah, it took significant pressure on LandSafe to come in with a value that was even remotely
and this is happening to you, Dani Babb, and you're like the god in this industry. So they're screwing around with the god. All right, if you're right, then we're in this mess for a while. How long?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a couple of years before most...
Couple of years?
Before most markets rebound. But there are areas that are going to start to see some leveling off. Like, for example, California, where we saw the 70+% increase in sales. Today, 5.5% across the nation. That's a very good sign. But I think we have to incentivize investors to get some of this inventory off of the market. I don't like the bailout.
So the price cuts and the price declines we have seen in and of themselves won't cut it.
No, because people have less money in the bank now. They're not going to be able to close the loan to get it. And banks, what's happening is the banks taking advantage of the bailout are the ones in the worst position. They're not going to loan anyway.
And you know what? Here's my theory on this. If you think once they have more money and get the bad stuff off their books, they're going to lend more money. No. They're going to just keep that money.
I couldn't agree more. And they're going to.
Really?
I agree with you.
Wow.
It's a miracle.
So it is a miracle, is it not? No, that's the thing. Psychologically, they have no incentive to change their ways because money in the bank, even at a minimal return, is better than losing 30%. Right?
Yeah, right. And the banks that are doing well in lending are not even going to take advantages because there are too many strings attached. So all it's going to do is help the bad banks and penalize the good ones.
Amazing. Dani, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. When we